Greeting YouTube. So the Supreme Court just said that the federal government is under no obligation to make sure that Native Americans get water that they were promised they could have. So there was a treaty, and I know those are written on tissue paper as far as the federal government is concerned. And within that treaty, it said that the government would, because it was really relocating indigenous people, guarantee that they had enough water for planting, for livestock, for living and for and for thriving. Except they failed. And then the Native Americans said, hey, federal government, you said that you'd do this thing. How come you haven't done this thing? We think that you're obligated to make it sure it actually gets done. And the Supreme Court just decided that the federal government actually is under no obligation to make sure that people have water. Now, I realize that folks on the right constantly throw around that the Biden administration is, they're liberal, they're progressive, they're, one step away from Marx. Except, this wouldn't be an issue if the Biden administration had just followed the treaty. There's nothing stopping the Biden administration from making sure that everyone in the United States has access to clean water, including the indigenous people, who I might add were on this continent 23,000 years before white people showed up. So, it was their continent for much longer than it has been belonged to the white folks. That doesn't seem to matter to the white folks, though. They seem to think that it's a-okay that, that they're in charge now, and it's okay if they don't make sure that people get water. So yeah, that's disgusting. And again, this court decision by the Supreme Court would not matter if the Biden administration would just come forward and do the thing they should have done, the moral, the ethical thing to do, the humane thing to do, the progressive thing to do. But then again, Joe Biden's not a progressive. He's a center-right conservative. Always has been. Always will be. He likes to wave the little progressive flag on occasion to get the votes. And I'm going to have to vote for him again in 2024. I don't have an option. I want AOC to be my president, but she's not going to be running. And there isn't anybody else to vote for because I want to defeat the Republicans, who will quite likely be turn-up. So yeah, I'll have to vote for this guy again. I won't be happy about it, but I'm going to do it because it's my duty. Because the Biden administration, even though they're screwing over the indigenous people of this continent, they're still less evil than the Republicans. But let's end this video on a slightly positive note, in that the Supreme Court also decided that Native Americans should be considered to be priorities when it comes to adoption of indigenous children. So if a Native American child is up for adoption, the Native American peoples within their community should be viewed as the priority of those who should adopt this kid. That you should not just farm this kid out to white people who will never raise them within the culture that they should be raised within, their own culture. Because this is one of the ways that the United States government tried to destroy the Native American people in the past. They kidnapped children and put them into residential schools, sometimes where they just died and were buried namelessly in the ground without a mark, without even notifying their family. But they also take the kids away and had them adopted by white families. You could even at one time buy them. Yeah, you go do the research. There are ads out there for buying Native American children. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. So the fact that the Supreme Court decided, we should prioritize Native American families when it comes to adopting Native American children, that is at least a win. And that's probably the best we're going to get when it comes to good news out of the Supreme Court anytime in the near future. Because now that they have a conservative majority, they're doing what they want to. And what they want to do is destroy the nation, undermine democracy, and hand everything over to social conservatives. But at least in this one instance, they did the right thing. I really wish they'd do that more often.